computer. So hello, everybody, and happy new lunar year.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a year of the snake, which is about shedding all of the old stuff. The snake brings blessings and takes away bad luck. So goodbye 2024. I never want to see you again. Just moving forward. So how is everybody?
It's warm.
Oh, yes. Look, warm for you. How bizarre. We've got floods where Anne Marie is.
No,
Heat.
no,
Yeah.
I escaped.
Oh,
Oh,
you've gone home then.
I got scared.
Yeah, yeah. I was checking this morning and my God, what a mess. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So is your daughter's home in a safe zone?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's on the high side of the highway.
Oh, yeah, on the other side. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So like just Yarrabah.
yeah.
Oh my goodness me. Yeah, this is just no good. So then we've got where Doug is. He's in heat waves. So Doug, what's your temperatures at the moment?
inside it's 29.6 in
Yeah,
the kitchen. It's supposed to be 41 today. It got to
yeah,
40.3 about 5:15 last night or this
yeah,
afternoon.
yeah. And your whole house is not air conditioned, is it? Oh, it
No,
is. No, no.
no, it's all brick and old and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's an old cottage.
yeah. Look, I have been watching, and I see Laura has jumped on. So
Hmm. Hi,
Laura's
Laura.
yeah, Laura's in Darwin, same as me. But Darwin, I believe, is hotter than Nhulunbuy. So go figure. Yeah. But anyway, I am watching the weather and I am acutely aware of how it is disruptive to all of us, to our study. Like I cannot think outside of the air conditioning.
Mm.
But then my dog has some digestive issues. So if I lock him in the study with me and he farts, I have to go outside. It's disgusting. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Anne Marie, you wanted to ask a question.
I did indeed. I was just wondering what your winner certificates are that are pinned up behind you.
Doug, do you know what they are?
That from last year's CDU ACR conference.
Correct. Yeah. So Anne Marie, I won two awards at the HDR conference. One was for best presenter, and one was for the best presentation, I think. Um, best presenter and best presentation. Yeah. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Well
yeah.
done.
But it was a little bit weird because there was a date change, right? And I had already booked to go to Tasmania. I was going to a workshop in Tasmania. So I went, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? I'm going to have to do it as I land in Hobart at the airport. I was able to swap with another student, and I walked in the door of the motel in Hobart, and I was yelling at Paul, plug the computer in, as I'm pulling out, plug it in. I sat down and I did my presentation, and I had a tech fail as well. So, and Laura, hello to you. How are you?
Okay. Good, good.
How are
I'm
you?
now I'm now waiting eagerly for this meeting to be, to happen
Yes.
on Mondays. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what's the first meeting?
What, sorry?
The meeting's on Monday. What's the first meeting about?
No, that's our meeting. This meeting
Oh,
here.
our
Oh,
meetings. No,
nice.
sorry. Yeah. Oh, that is beautiful to hear. Yeah. I thought you meant you had some other meetings.
Oh, I do. Yes, I do. I run a webinar, but not every week. And yes, I'm still in contact with students overseas, not from CDU, of course. Yeah, so.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that you also did that.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm in the freelance sort of.
Yeah. 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 You're a powerhouse and just an absolute wealth of knowledge.
Thank you, but yeah, it's ongoing learning for me, and wherever I can learn, I just dive in.
Yeah. And I think we're probably all very similar. Like, we all value lifelong learning. And I think we all know that learning doesn't only happen in academia. And certainly through my career as a therapist, I have learnt as much from my clients and my colleagues as I did at university. Actually, I've probably learnt more from them than I learnt at university. Yes. So this actually is the epistemology and the ontology argument about what is knowledge and how is knowledge formulated. So it's not just academic knowledge. There's also all of this knowledge that's transferred through interactions with other people. Yeah, and that's part of my study. So let's do a bit of an update on where everybody is with their research. Anne-Marie, amidst the floods and the getting home to safety, have you been able to do anything this week?
Well, I think
Oh, she's frozen. The weather's kicked her out. No. Okay. So Doug, we might just move on to you.
have I frozen again?
No, you're unfrozen now. You've come out of the freezer. It's all right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you
It's really cloudy today, and I've got what are the Starlink, whatever ones, and yes, it does cut in and out. So I submitted the abstract for that conference. I was really pleased, actually, the way it turned out, and has been really helpful then for me to, I know this is the wrong way round and everything, but writing my project description, because it started with the little thing and I can now build it out. So it's actually was really helpful, and it got that submitted as well. So, yeah.
Excellent. And why do you think it's the wrong way around?
Well, I just sort of thought that you would work on the abstract after you'd actually done the other part, but
Yeah.
But
okay.
I work good from having I know dot points and that, and then building and always when I did assignments and that, I would start with, what they wanted on the page and then build around it. So it actually works quite well for me that way. Yeah.
I attended a really, really excellent workshop on how to write an abstract. And actually, Laura, I think it might have been presented through the CDU library, for one of the librarians there.
Yeah, I did not do that one. Probably a colleague did. Belinda, it might have been Belinda. Yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but gee, it was good. And the 5 things that have to go into an abstract. So, Anne-Marie, that actually turned my mind around too, because I'm like you. I used to write and then formulate the abstract from what I had written. But there's actually 5 essential items that have to go into an abstract before journals will even look at it. Like, you have to meet some criteria. And then that informed the way I wrote. So it was an easier way to actually achieve the end result, I thought. I was really impressed with it.
I didn't see that one advertised.
It must have been advertised, must have come across the email for me to know about it. Yeah. But
hopefully
very, very
there's
good.
recording and I'll be able to jump onto the recording, because I didn't see that one.
Doug, I'll have a look back through, because I keep all of the recordings because slow learner. I like to go back and check that I'm doing things correctly. So it's a good cross measure for me. So if I've still got it, I'll share it with you, because it was
because
extremely
I did
valuable.
one training on Tracking research grants and writing research grants, which was mainly for early career researchers and actual researchers and ATR students,
Yeah. Okay.
which I think I did last year as well. So it
Yep.
was sort of
Okay.
familiar ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will often go to something twice,
Yeah.
because I pick up completely different things.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So just getting back to you, Anne Marie, and the abstract. So that's submitted.
Yes, yes. So it's submitted right on the last day of them accepting them. I'm good at that. Uh, but yeah, so we'll just wait and see how it goes now.
And will that be a face-to-face presentation?
I ticked both boxes. So I'm leaving it up to fate, whether it's a like face to face or poster. Yeah, because
Okay.
I can do posters quite well.
You can. You're
And that
amazing, actually. Yeah.
but the talking I'm not so good at. So um, yeah, I've let fate decide. We'll see what happens, whether I push my boundaries or not.
Well, I'm going to ask Mr. Snake, given that this is his year, to push it into face-to-face presentation, just as more experience.
Yeah, and I think that would actually be good. And I think I'd actually be able to do it reasonably well now. I am getting better at that, and it'll be about local stuff. So yeah, I'm quite familiar with that.
Yeah. And passionate about it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only reason I won those awards is because I'm passionate.
Mm.
And when you're presenting against people who are very nervous, as most people are when they present, and I'm not, it makes it easy to win an award.
Yeah, no, it's how it comes across, hey, and if you've got the passion and confidence, well,
Yeah.
you suck people in.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're probably sitting there really grateful that it's not them up there doing what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's funny. Yeah. Yeah, well, you better get ready for your book club facilitation in when are you? Your April, I think. Was it April for you? Oh, she's frozen again. How convenient that she froze right then. Oh, there she
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to try switching to my phone and see if it does any better.
Okay.
Okay, so if I
All
pop
right.
out, I'll be back.
That's all right. And Doug, we'll just move on to you.
Yep.
How have you gone in the extreme heats and
I
with
haven't
all
done
the
really that
changes?
much because of the heat. It's been a real bugger, to be blunt. And I thought I could do some stuff, do some work in the lounge because I've got a portable air conditioner that pops out a hose out the window.
Yep.
It's just too noisy for that, and so I'm up the kitchen with a fan on, and but I have a 1 month extension to present my confirmation.
Okay, great.
Must be done by the 18th of March.
Yep.
So Kim has my draft and was going to go through it over the weekend to see what needs to be. It needs rearranging in parts,
Yeah.
and some parts of the PhD components take it out to make it more for master research.
So have you decided to stay with the masters and not the PhD? Yeah, okay.
It's going to be a lot easier process,
Okay.
unfortunately.
And
Unfortunately, because it's not a PhD, but I can always do one of them elsewhere.
yeah, correct, you can. Yeah.
Or at CDU again.
Yeah. So you're staying at CDU for the masters?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So I don't lose that contact then.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, Doug. And my acknowledgement in terms of that heat. Yeah. Man, I don't know because I'm born and grew up in Papua New Guinea, and we didn't have air conditioning. And I'm back now at school. Like, how the hell did we learn anything?
Yeah. Because it's a dry heat here. It's really just dry, and it sucks all the energy out of you. And
Yeah.
it'd be nice if there's a bit of moisture or a bit of a. No, maybe not. I don't know.
Well, Anne-Marie's just come from an area that had plenty of moisture that she could send you away.
Yeah. I wish. Go on, send her here. We need some water.
So, Laura, what's happening for you this last week?
Well, as time goes by, it's becoming clearer and clearer in my mind what I actually want to do.
This is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going towards the social services, also social research, but it's always been a little bit my area. Like, I've always been in the triangle of sociology, linguistics, and psychology.
Yeah.
And in the midst of it, I've always been interested in organizational psychology as such. So I'm always gravitating around that. But I think I need at this point to see things as they happen, not so much in a research domain only. I really need to do stuff in this area, in this domain.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because everything is data and everything can lead to research. So maybe this is a path that you have to take to really set you up well for excellent social research.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit, maybe biased. I don't know if it's the right word, but for me, research is social.
Yes.
It cannot be otherwise.
Yeah.
Even if it's an experiment, what's the outcome of an experiment? It's, the improvement of something that has been done in a certain way until now, and the strive to improve whatever process, whatever outcome comes from that experiment, even if it's done, in a vacuum, in a void.
Yes.
So, I just cannot function without a context. And it can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you've got to have a goal post that you're heading toward. Otherwise, you can't kick the ball because you don't know where you want the ball to go. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And certainly when I don't know where I'm going, I'm completely lost. Like I can't even make myself a cup of tea because I can't work out how to do it. Yeah, I absolutely need to have that focus all the time. So
and the context, the context within which you're actually doing something, I guess it impacts on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've noticed some people actually work very well without a context. I mean, work very well, with very, very few, if at all, any reference points, and in the outside world, like especially young people.
Yeah.
I need an anchor. I need to situate what I'm doing. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. And I wonder if some of that is maturity. Like the older we get, the more we realize that we have to anchor. But I think I was born old. Like, even when I was young, I needed to know what the destination was. Otherwise, I couldn't choose the path to walk on. Yeah. But then I look at my children, and you're right. For some of them, not all of them, but for some of them, it's completely different. They're just so random, and chaos reigns supreme, and they're as happy as anything. Yeah.
Yes, and maybe, I mean, they enjoy the process without And I guess, yes, I think you're right. It's partially, well, a major part has to do with maturity. Like when you have lived for some time, I think it's almost automatic that you make connections among things. And talking about ontology, if you conceive an object, your object of research, the object under scrutiny, you can't conceive it in isolation. As you grow older, you can't. I mean, you have to connect it to something else, and it might be, different things. It might be a context, a geographical, physical, social, and within this context, you may find other connections. Again, I'm not sure whether this is totally good. If it could be conducive to bias in a way, because I don't know, maybe, maybe not, maybe, yeah. So I leave it, I leave this question to you to ponder.
They're big questions, which is what ontological questions are anyway. Like it's the big ones. Yeah. And I get bogged down in the epistemology. Like, so I also have that ability to go and, and stay there for hours and hours. Yeah. Until another rabbit hole comes up and then I'm off.
So what's your topics, Guy? Because I can't remember. I think I've seen Doug once, but I can't remember your topic, the actual topic of your research.
Well, Doug, go.
Doug's mine. It's climate change, adaptation and mitigation through the lens of environmental sociology and eco-socialism.
Okay, please explain.
Well, the government, I'm going to be looking at policies and programs that the government, both federal and state governments, have towards climate change adaptation and climate change mitigation, and sort of do a textual analysis of those, with an idea of then discussing them from the environmental sociological perspective and then from an eco-socialist perspective. If that helps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Talking of ontology, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Megan, what's your topic exactly? You might have mentioned it, but
I'm looking at whether or not people read Brené Brown as a form of resistance against the traditional intellectuals. So she's considered an organic intellectual, but I was very interested to see why people read her and what do they do with her information in the books. So it's all epistemological, looking at who gets to decide the worth of popular literature for people who read it. Because often academia dismisses stuff that's either grey literature or popular literature, pop psychology. But my clients over the years have always loved it and it's changed their lives. So who are we to say that there's no worth in that? Yeah. And Anne-Marie, how about you?
Yeah, so I only started in October, so mine is still evolving a bit. But it's about early childhood in Normanton. And so their data on their AEDC data says that our kids are more vulnerable than the Australian and the Queensland averages by a lot. We've got a bit of over half Aboriginal population. Got lots of violence, too many suicides. In our community. But what I'm wanting to do this is from a strengths-based perspective. and highlight what we do well. See what early childhood education and care, because that's where my money comes from. Is from the early childhood education and care thing, but seeing whether it's what's wanted, whether it's because the government's got this thing about more places and that sort of thing, and that this is how you fix kids who are vulnerable. But, you sort of look at it and go, is that like taking the kids away as well? Like it's, we'll just shove them in a white daycare centre and they'll come out with the same values and,
Yeah.
So, there's a mix of things in there, but also educating people about ACEs, that there's so that they're like, while I'm going from a strengths base, that so that you're promoting positive stuff in childhood, because that counteracts some of that adverse stuff. But just raising awareness of that through the process as well.
So Laura, how about you? Tell us about the webinars that you're running, for example.
Sorry, say that again. I can't.
Tell us about the webinar that you're going to be running.
It's well, I'm not actually running it, but I'm contributing as an interlocutor. It's about workplace integrated learning. It's another area that I'm very interested in, because of course of the organizational communication, my organizational communication background. So yes, it's about communication in the workplace and how one learns through communication. As you may be familiar with the acronym WIL, Workplace Integrated Learning.
Yes.
It's a synonym with the placement programs, that it's not always called like this in the universities. It's called in different ways, depends. Sometimes it's called WIL, but it's actually the theoretical framework for placing students within the workplace for their professional, for the practicum. I am particularly interested this is a very general webinar, so it's just more of a conversation. But what I'm interested in at the moment for research purposes is the institutional talk about policies in all workplaces, such as inclusivity, diversity, etc., and the contrast that let's say the contradicting reality that, for example, international students find when they are doing their placements. So they are not included as they should be, in an integrated learning environment. They don't feel included enough, and they are, to a great extent, diverse in the sense not only communication-wise, but also organizationally, culturally, etc., etc. So this is what I mean. So that's this contested area between, okay, all these policies that we have at institutional levels, and there's a huge emphasis on diversity, inclusivity, etc. But what really happens at placements, doing placements, when students who are okay, we're talking about the Australian context, but it could be anywhere. When students are not from Australia, they're from another country, and obviously their organizational culture is completely different. They get into a workplace, an Australian workplace, and they are most of the time left out.
Yes. And that's something that I had never even thought about, but you are absolutely correct.
Yeah. But that's even true for
Indigenous.
schools, and they're being inclusive of people with disabilities. It's all there in policy, but the actual the actual happening isn't there. And a lot of it's about the teachers not having the knowledge and enough of them to actually pull it off.
Yes, the teachers, yes, you're absolutely correct. They might have the knowledge of the industry. I do believe they do have the knowledge, although somebody says, you're absolutely correct. Somebody says they're more academics than professionals, so they've left the professional world some time ago, so they don't have a current knowledge of the industry. But I actually think they do know the industry.
Yeah,
But
no, sorry, what I meant was the knowledge of disability. So if they've got
yes,
a child with autism in their class, they've got a child with ADHD, they've got, they just don't have the knowledge of the disabilities. And it may be the same thing with the not including them in the workplace, not having the knowledge of the culture and how to
yes,
be inclusive. Yeah.
yes. They're definitely, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm not going into the disability domain because I don't have enough knowledge of it, like you guys probably. But I am definitely looking at at communication and how it impacts both ways. It impacts students. It could be international students, but it could also be First Nations who speak English as an additional and dialect as an additional language, and the expectations and how the expectations in a workplace manifest in how they speak, what they say, how what they say and how it's said, it's actually received by colleagues, and other, supervisors in the workplace, and so on and so forth. And they said, this is large scale project that I referred to. The findings point to the fact that there's no blending there. There's no actual learning as it should be, because there's no preparedness for the students to be ready to be in a workplace which is not from their own country. It's very subtle, but yeah, I hope you got the idea.
Yeah.
So is it undergrad students or postgrad students or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I'm looking at both, but I'm particularly interested in master's level students, because that's where, especially international students, but also some First Nations. I've run some workshops, that was 2023 though, for a lecturer who was running the master's of social work. And the workshops were in preparation of the practicum that the student would have to do. And so there were a lot of First Nation students. A good number of First Nation students. And so it came to my attention that actually the level of expectations is very different. Like, just to give a very, it seems banal, but okay, if you have a specific role, or if you specialize in a certain area in your social work studies and in relation to what you're going to do professionally, for example, the students in a formal meeting, the students wouldn't intervene, wouldn't participate, even if they had something to say about other areas which are closely connected to their own, and for which they would have something to say, something important to say. They would just keep it to themselves. And it works both ways, because they're not really encouraged to speak.
I know when I did my placement, though, I felt really quite intimidated by my supervisor, not by the work colleagues, they were really good, but yeah, I felt really quite intimidated. Didn't feel I knew enough to and I think a lot of people go into placement like that, feeling, that yeah, that you don't need enough, you don't know enough, and the trying to connect theories to practice and that sort of thing is yeah, quite difficult when you're at that stage.
Yes, but also it goes into the linguistic and cultural distance. So in some countries, the professionals, I should say, they get into a workplace and they expect to be guided every step of the way. So they are waiting for instructions to come, or for guideline, or for guidance. They are not proactive. They are not participating, because that's their expectations. And so, if a student goes into a placement like that, well, it's already, it's already in a disadvantage. And I guess many students are not told that they can actually say stuff. They can actually participate actively. Yes, so it's also a preparation phase they should go through. For the Western type of environment.
This is very, very interesting. Yeah.
It's deeper than one could think. Yeah.
And I think if you don't think, you never get there, because there are so many layers of thinking that have to be pulled up. Yeah. That's those damn rabbit holes that I'm really expert at going down. I love it. Well, Cherubs, we have to end up because we're going over the time. But Laura, do you also have your own website?
No, I'm thinking of creating one, and I will be happy to start writing blogs and stuff, and I will definitely let you know.
Yes, do. Yeah. And
Yes.
are you on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. I'll find you on LinkedIn. Yeah. I'm not using Meta very much because it is absolutely giving me the shits big time. So if anybody wants to find me, they have to find me on LinkedIn, because that's the one I check the most. Yeah. But Doug and Anne-Marie, thinking of you and families with all of the extreme weather that's happening across Australia, like it really is very bad. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. But take care, everybody, and wonderful, wonderful to see your faces again. Yeah. Remember the year of the snake? It's about shedding 2024, which for a lot of people, myself included, was a horrific year. Like goodbye 2024. This is the year of blessings and change. So,
Oh, by the way, I wanted to say something. I'm collaborating, let's say, very marginally to a project that's called that's about First Nations sleep disorders, and it's a PhD study, but it pertains to a bigger study. If any one of you, we can talk about this maybe next time, but if any one of you would be interested, because I could see your title, Megan, that you are a mental
health.
Mental social, mental health. Yeah.
So is Anne-Marie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That would be fantastic if you could be participants, because the interesting part of this project is the methodology, which I'm particularly, I'm interested in all creative methodologies, but this one is about participatory action research.
Yeah.
And so it requires participation and co-design of some resources. So if you're interested, we can talk about this.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put that on the topic for next Monday's get together. Yeah. That sounds fascinating. But in the meantime, Laura, if you want to flick things through to me, you can, and I can disseminate them to both Anne-Marie and Doug, whom I'm sure would be happy to give you their email addresses anyway. Like this is totally transparent. There is nothing hidden about
I'll give you mine, no problem. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Lovely to see you all.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
See you all soon. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.